All right, guys, we're back with interview with Sensei, and we're gonna tackle ego again because it seemed to really strike a chord with everybody. We learned a lot from it, and I was in a situation with a prominent DJ in the Lehigh Valley by the name of Cap C, and the guy plays and spins great music. I actually met him when I was a security guard at 40 Below. 40 Below was paying me $50 a night, and he offered to pay me 60 a night to be his personal bodyguard and to be his personal assistant, basically. So he hired me from 40 Below, and this is all tied to ego because Cap C and I aren't friends anymore because of, I believe, his egotistical mind. But in any case, the story goes, he picked me up from 40 Below, paying me $10 more than what 40 Below was paying me. So I ended up being his personal assistant. He paid me cash every night to pick him up at home, carry his equipment, take him to the venue if it was a club or a birthday party or a wedding. I would help him set up, I would help him break down, put the equipment back in my car, drive him home, unload his equipment, and then he'd give me $60. And basically that's how the nights went. Soon, like a month in, he stopped giving me $60. He would start like buying me dinner instead, and that kind of, to him, I guess, took the place of the $60. So then I was like, oh, this is weird, and wanted to see if it would continue. I'm a glutton for punishment, just to make sure people are assholes. Just to make sure. Let's see if it happens again. So I pick him up again, and sure enough, he slides through McDonald's. Buys me a couple of cheeseburgers and doesn't slide me any cash. So I'm like, okay. So then it turned into, instead of food, it turned into hand-me-downs. And he started giving me like his old clothes, like stuff that he couldn't fit anymore. So I got like a closet full of button-downs. It felt like it evened out, but then, it didn't in the long run because I'm like, he could have dropped this off at the Salvation Army. I'm really not making off here. So in any case, it ended up going little by little. He stopped paying me, stopped giving me stuff, and I'm now doing it for free. And what happened was there's a group of dancers that I was associated with that also went out to his parties called the Party Rock Crew of Pennsylvania. And it's 5 or 6 of us, girls and boys, would go out and we dance battle against other crews. If you've ever seen the movie Step Up, it's kind of like that. There's crews from Easton, crews from Allentown, and we're the crew from Bethlehem. And the 3 of us would come together and battle at Capsy's parties. So when I was driving him home one night, because now I'm all pissed off about him not treating me right, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to start letting him know about himself. And I'm going to start with that because he never gave us respect. So we all gather to his parties. We're the reason why everybody else comes because they want to see us battle. But Cap C would never shout us out on a mic like, hey, thanks to the dancers for coming out. You guys really made this party awesome. Nothing like that. Nothing like, it was all about him. And he never ever shouted us out. And I felt disrespected. I'm not the leader of the group at all, but I had the opportunity to let him know about himself when I was driving him home. So I said, hey Cap, how come you never shout us out when we're out in the dance floor killing it, man? We're attracting all these people for your parties and stuff. I don't ever hear you shouting us out. He was like, Oh, really? All right, man, whatever, man, just drop me off. He calls me up. He's like, yo, lose my number. And I was like, okay. So then half an hour later, I get a text message from one of the girls in the group. And she said, hey, Brian, did you get Capsy's mass text? I was like, no, send it to me. So I get the text, and it says, hey, guys, I don't know what's up with Brian, but he says that I don't give you guys respect when you come out to my parties. Well, anyway, come out to my party next weekend. Talk to you later. Like, you know what I mean? So he never really apologized. He kind of took the opportunity to try and invite them out again, like to think that they're not going to recognize that this guy's using us. So then I sent the mass text out to all the rest of the dance members, like, yo, don't trust Cap C. He's a fucking snake. Excuse my language. And he obviously went behind my back and sent you guys a text and didn't man up and send the text to me as well. So he's definitely a coward. And someone not to trust. And I'm not going to go to his parties. You guys are adults. You can go to his parties if you want to, but you won't see me there supporting a guy like this. And that's kind of how it left off. About 2 or 3 weeks after this happened, I went to the club to one of his parties. I figured I'd man up, squash it. It's silly. So at starters, he's up on the stage, and the stage is just high enough where you can shake his hand. So we would always come in and, dap him up. Then we get the break dancing and stuff. So I came in after 3 weeks after that. I walked up in front of everybody. The crowd, like, the club is packed. I went up to give my handshake out, and he goes like this. In front of everybody. It was done. I was done then. I was like, I'm never talking to this guy again. And he's lucky he's alive. He really is. If I wasn't a Christian, he'd be dead. He would be the first one on the list. But this is the, I guess...
Is that ego talking?
This is the... Yes, probably, Sensei, but at the same time, it's like, how do you let a cat like this slide? But, so that's... I don't know what you can do with that.
One of the things is we need to... When we're dealing with other people, we need to define the beast. We have to look at them, and we have to find out who they are, what are the attributes of that person, so that I can define them, and I don't make the popular mistake of expectations. We throw expectations out because what we do is we meet a person and we like their smile, maybe because their smile reminds us of our mother's smile or someone who we care about. And immediately what we start to do is we start to attribute attributes of people that we knew, people that we know, or ourselves on these new people that we don't truly know. And it feels like I've known you forever. Well, that's because it's easy to accept what I perceive is true about the person. If we weren't shallow, and some people think that they have an intuitive nature, and that's what brings about this understanding of being able to trust a person right off the bat. But the truth of it is, we need to define who that person is and refine our understanding of that person. We don't. Usually what we do, like I said, is we take attributes from people that we like and we just kind of say, well, he's a little bit like George and he's a lot like, Chris, and that's why I like him. He's a lot like me. We have a lot of things, a lot of things in common. Well, his upbringing is most likely different. I don't think anyone is the same. My brother and I had the same upbringing, but at the same time, we were brought up completely different. We have the same parents and everything else, but everybody has their own experiences. Everyone is a very separate individual. What we have to do is we have to evaluate who this person is, what he's about, and then we can accept him for who he is. Ego does play a role. In your case, a lot of situational drama there. What we need to do is we need to evaluate our roles. If he was, the alpha dog and was trying to get you into the industry, then yes, it may be about paying your dues. It may be about scratching and saving and doing what's asked of you so that you can be deserving of the grace that he will lay upon you. But if it is in fact just a job in which he owes you $60, and then that's that. Is he helping you get your career off the ground? Is he, are you a serious used clothing collector? I mean,
right.
It's just,
He really didn't help me in any kind of way other than introducing me to Eric Chase, who was the director of B104, and the relationships that I made there at that radio station. But other than that, he really didn't help me do anything. Nor does he to this day give respect to the dancers that come out and make his parties hot. If the dancers didn't show up to his parties, the parties would be dope, but they wouldn't be as hot as they are because of us.
Now, this is going to sound bad. Okay, this is going to sound bad, and you could take this multiple ways, but in the ninja's understanding, there's this thing called the Great Game. Not to get too heavy or too hot into it, but the Great Game is about the interactions between all things and how you move the pieces on the board. If you are willing to be moved in a certain way, then that becomes your function, and you become a piece that is defined on that board. So simply put, if the dancers are willing to be moved around and willing to not be acknowledged, then they're playing their roles. And that